Hi, I'm David Scranton, and thanks for clicking this video. Today, we're talking about ways that you can make your retirement plan more resilient in the face of adversity. And I'm here with Jeff Small, president of Arbor Financial Services, as well as today's special guest, Ed Slott. Author, public speaker, TV host. In fact, Ed is well-versed in IRAs and retirement distribution planning in general. And he's been called the best source for IRA advice. And he's also been called I'm sure amongst many other things, but we won't talk about that today, Ed. You've been referred to as America's IRA expert. Ed, thanks for being back with us here on the show. It's always great to have you.
Yeah, great to be back with you.
So, Ed, you are an expert in financial resiliency when it comes to IRAs and pre-tax savings dollars. However, in your new book, The New Retirement Savings Time Bomb, you talk about new IRA threats from the 2019 Secure Act. What are some of those threats and how can people avoid them?
Well, the fact that Congress upended over 3 decades of established tax law makes you think, are these rules really good going into retirement and beyond? For example, they eliminated the stretch IRA, which affects estate planning for beneficiaries, and people made plans relying on this. So I have to tell you, it's an old CPA. I'm a CPA for those who don't know, an old tax adage. We always say tax laws are written in pencil. So you have to take that into account. And you really can't trust Congress to keep its word, especially when they need money. So you have to make sure your plan is resilient and can withstand maybe tax increases coming into retirement that you may not have expected.
Well, on that note, do you think any of President Biden's economic plans create more risks for IRA owners today?
Well, the risk would be if taxes go higher in the future. But you can do things about that now and start whittling down that taxable IRA, maybe with Roth conversions, moving money to tax-free territory, or even with life insurance. I have a whole chapter on that in my book called The Power of Life Insurance, which I think is probably the better estate plan and retirement plan, because I think, in my opinion, the life insurance plan, and I'm talking about permanent life insurance, has more stability and long-term staying power than the rules surrounding IRAs. Congress doesn't tinker with life insurance rules hardly ever, but IRAs are always up on the table because they know that money has not yet been taxed, but it will be. So they look at IRAs and 401ks, pre-tax money that has not been taxed, as money they can get their hands on.
Yeah, I know I said, when I asked you before one time, Ed, I'm pretty sure you said, I don't necessarily think the step up in basis is going to go away soon. The tax forgiveness of capital gains at death. Do you still feel that way? Because I just see what's going on there, and they're trying to get rid of 1031 exchanges even on real estate. Have you changed your stance on that at all?
Yes, I feel more strongly that it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you why. It's extreme, and anything too extreme, in my opinion, I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, but in my opinion, when you have a 50-50 Senate, it's got to be only something moderate will pass. I think that's too extreme. Step up in basis has been around 100 years this year. Started in 1921. I think it's an extreme move. But, just as an aside, to tell you how bad IRAs are, everybody's screaming about, no step up in basis and have to pay ordinary tax. Well, that's what an IRA is. You never get a step up in basis in an IRA or 401k, and it will always be taxed at ordinary rates in the hands of beneficiaries. And no capital, you don't get capital gain rates, and it's not eliminated. That's why it's a lousy asset to pass on wealth to children and grandchildren. That's why you really need to be looking at things like Roth IRAs and life insurance to whittle down those IRA balances, which will be more subject to Congress's tinkering when they need money.
So we're going to have to agree to disagree on the step up and basis issue, because I look at it as dead people don't vote, so it's the perfect way to raise more taxes.
That's true, but it's it's connected to another piece that has an actual tax, like a realization event, like you sold a stock at death. That's like an estate tax every year. You know, it's ridiculous. I don't think that's going to go through.
So, okay, we agree to disagree. No problem with that. Final thoughts. What are your best two pieces of advice for retirees and pre-retirees to increase their feeling of financial resilience?
Well, moving more money into tax-free territory, even if that costs you money now. Remember, we know what the 2021 tax rates are. And that's another thing. I don't believe anything they do, if they do anything at all, will be retroactive. We're too far into the year for that. So we know what today's rates are. We don't know what next year's or many years down the line. At some point, they're going to have to raise rates, I believe, because of look at the debts and the deficits are exploding. So it may be time to start pushing money into tax-free territory, like with Roth conversions, or start a series of smaller annual conversions over time. And also start looking to lock in, the stock market. I'm not a real big stock guy, but everybody knows it's sky high. Maybe lock in some of those gains, maybe get some of those gains sold and locked in the gains at today's low capital gain rates, and turn some of that into guaranteed income for life in retirement through annuities.
Because the one thing that we're pretty sure of is that capital gains taxes will be higher next year than this year. So Ed, once again, great having you. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
And thank you for watching this video. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And for more interviews with top names in the financial world, subscribe to our YouTube channel.